stop talking and introduce our speaker, Regina, to come talk to us about Liminal.
Thank you so much. I click here. I have no idea how a clicker works. It's going to be so exciting. I have so much to hold in my hands. Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. And just the talks that we had beforehand, it already showed me that, as Diana said, we're all in this liminal space all the time, aren't we? And I've been digging deep in what this word means to me, and I've been getting a bit emotional about it. So let's see if I make it through this talk without crying, and let's see if you do. Okay, challenge accepted. I have all my notes here. I click here. In between, transitional. I almost deleted that email the other day in the morning. I was really busy getting ready, getting my kids ready for school, getting myself ready for work. This transitional space I find myself in every morning, wearing my mommy hat and then moving over to, being that entrepreneur. Yeah. And I remembered that I had forgotten to print out something my kids needed for school. And I tried to plug in the printer and it didn't quite work. And then there was this email in my inbox and I clicked the button to press delete without even opening it. And then something made me open it. And what I found in that email gave me so much clarity about what liminal means to me and how maybe we can all try to cope a little bit better with these places of in-between and transition that we keep finding ourselves being thrown into. And I will tell you what it said in that email, but not yet. Cliffhanger. Because first I need to talk about Lego. Because Lego has a lot to do with that very first liminal space I found myself in as a kid. It's like my first conscious memory of liminality. I loved to paint floor plans when I was a kid. Maybe I would have become an architect, I realized. And then I was using these floor plans and I was building magnificent Lego houses. They were beautiful. And I was sitting with my brother in the bedroom building these houses, and then my mom comes in, sits down with us and says, I have to talk to you. And the way she said it and the way her voice sounded, I knew something was up. And then I saw the tissue in her hand. And the thing she said next threw me, catapulted our whole family into this weird place in between. They were getting a divorce. I had never seen them fight. I was really confused and shocked and sad, and we were all crying. And the month that followed this statement, we were still living in the same place physically. We were still in the same house, because now my mom and my dad, they were trying to find new flats. So we were still living as a family when we really were not. And that day, and I didn't make that up, I actually realized that now preparing for that talk, I cleaned up the Legos, put them in a box, moved them away, and I didn't touch them again until I had kids, because now of course we play with Lego all the time, right? So sometimes we are thrown into liminal experiences unwillingly. And I mean, where are we right now, right? We are living through a global pandemic. It's autumn 2021. And this might just be the most intense, collectively experienced liminality we might live through in our lifetime. Let that just sink in for a sec while I look at my notes, what I was supposed to say next. Exactly. As we find ourselves in this pandemic, I have seen heartbreak. I felt it myself. A lot of us have we have lost loved ones, and many of us have been separated from loved ones for the longest time. But then I also see in all this mess so much creativity and innovation and resilience. Because when I go out to these people that I interview for #Impact, I see that all the time. You know, there are these NGO leaders and they have innovated and now doing things differently because now they couldn't do it the way they used to. And that's actually pretty amazing, isn't it? So in any liminal, in-between space we find ourselves in, there's always so much ambiguity. There is this loss and heartbreak, but then at the same time there is this possibility of maybe doing things differently. And that's the easiest way, right, to look at things. Like, how are we going to look at this in between we find ourselves in? Are we going to look at this glass half empty, glass half full? I think that's a very common way to look at it, but I think that's really not getting to the bottom of it, because that's really just the tip of the iceberg. On the surface, there might be certain feelings we allow ourselves to feel about being in that liminal space, but then when we look beneath, you know, like this iceberg, there's always so much beneath that we are not even aware of, that maybe subconsciously is there, and we don't allow ourselves to feel that. And so I want to invite all of you for a second, just sit with that. Think of a moment where you have been in transition. Maybe you're in it right now. And what's there beneath for you? And that's kind of like this blank canvas, you know? Let's dig it all out, what is beneath there for us. And I did that exercise in preparation for this talk and catapulted myself back to a liminal space of my own choice. 7 years ago, I arrived in Hong Kong. I moved to this amazing city. I wanted to move to this amazing city. And I felt this was like my opportunity to kind of like reinvent and paint on this canvas with lots of colors and make up my new life. That's on top of that iceberg, right? I was quite excited and happy about this reinvention. But if I'm really honest of what's going on beneath that time when I was in that transition, there was a lot more. So I want to help you today. Help me uncover that, what I was going through. Can you help me with that? Yeah? I was hiding it from myself, what I felt that time. And I was hiding it also under your chair, unbeknownst to you. Some of you will find colorful stickers under your chair. Look, check your chair. If you found one, you gotta come up and you help me put this on the blank canvas. Yes, come up. Let's just stick it on. Yeah. I felt what?
Confidence. I can do this. Yay!
Yay! I can do this. I moved to this new place. Yeah. This is empty. There was oftentimes empty thoughts as well. There are many more. Look. Keep looking under your chairs. Especially you in the back there. Because those chairs were much better to stick it on. Yeah, what was that?
Imposter.
Oh, imposter. I felt like such an imposter. Powerful. Hopeful, yeah.
Confused.
I was so confused. Was that all? Can't believe it. Was it really all? Check. There were so many more. Did you all look? Don't be shy. Come up. You there in the back, are you sure? Okay, Belinda, can you help me stick on some more? I got some extra. We're gonna stick them all here. Beautiful. So excited. I was so excited. It's like a nice city. It's amazing.
Energized.
I was energized. Yes. What else?
Weak.
Weak. Yeah. Vulnerable.
Fraud.
You're a fraud. What are you doing here?
Amazing.
I'm so great. I can totally rock it.
Full of anticipation.
So much anticipation, so much possibility.
So many expectations.
Yeah. Gosh, it was like this is not even the start of it. You know it all, right? You've been there. So I've been digging it all out. But if I'm really honest, if I'm digging all of this out now, if I'm making space on that Canva here, really, thank you. I didn't want to let other people know that I felt so lost. My close friends knew, sure, but if I would meet new people like Diana at that sustainability jam, I didn't want other people to know that I felt this and I felt lonely. Especially because I thought I had already made that transition physically. I had arrived in this awesome city, Hong Kong. I mean, isn't this a great place to be? Oh gosh, Belinda's gonna help me to move them even more. So, I had arrived physically, but when it comes to my profession, I hadn't, because we relocated for my husband's job, and I could start fresh, right? Paint that canvas, and I was quite excited about it. But I had also given up something. My life before Hong Kong was 5 years in mainland China, working for a really renowned think tank in the social impact space, with organizing high-ranking delegation visits, putting people in conference halls, and I was sitting at the table with these really smart and bright scientists in the field that I had studied, China Studies major. Did you know that? Yeah, I did that. And then I'm sitting there, Beijing, capital of China, and I'm organizing these visits. I mean, wow, isn't that amazing? So, it's weird because I was really ready to make that change when we moved to Hong Kong. I had this great life, but I was ready to try something new, so I was really excited about that. But then at the same time, it was so intimidating. And I thought if I would ask other people how they made those changes happen in their lives, and I could get their insights, that could help me to figure it out for myself as well. So that's really how #Impact began, my podcast. I wanted to meet people that had dedicated their life to making social impact. And I figured that they also, they didn't know that from the beginning, that they would be ending up working for this organization. So I met them and I asked them, how did you get there? And that was just amazing. It was so eye-opening to me to speak to them. That dentist, shout out to Redress, dentist turned fashion activist, that corporate executive turned NGO director, that lawyer turned social impact tech platform founder. It's amazing. And what I realized while I spoke to them about transitions, that what I had labeled reinvention, like I put that label on it, that we have to kind of like reinvent ourselves, it was a wrong label. We are not reinventing, we are in an evolution, right? I didn't have to reinvent myself. I could still be me, I could just evolve. And my parents, my family, We didn't reinvent our family, we just evolved. And that was such a great revelation, that it is part of the human experience. It's part for all of us, right? There's one emotion though, that I was hiding very deep inside, under this iceberg, and that's this one. I had it twisted. I thought I'm only allowed to grieve, having to leave a space behind and moving into a new space when it's thrown on me unwillingly. You know, my parents decided for that divorce. That was not my choice. I'm allowed to be sad. I didn't want this pandemic. I can be upset and sad about that. But I thought I'm not allowed to grieve if I made a choice. I wanted to move to Hong Kong. I wanted to start fresh. I wanted to become a parent. Now look at it this way. All the way down, right? It was, I'm thinking it up. Here it is. With each change, there's a part of us that is left behind. A person that we have now outgrown. A chapter in our life that is coming to an end. Although we know it will always be part of us. And we carry those experiences with us, always. There is grief in the liminal experience. And there's so much beauty too. I actually would have known that in 2014. You know, there I'm sitting at one of these creative morning events, these awesome creative morning events. And you know, 2014, Regina, she's in that transition. She's so messed up inside. She's trying to look cool and having it all together. But inside, it's like, oh, like that. And I just want to give her a high five, you know, like, you're doing awesome, you're great, you're a rock star. You don't know it, but you are okay, right? You're doing this right. I wish we could all do that for ourselves. Not just for the things that we have managed to transition out of and into, but actually now, you know. Now, in this moment, as we are living it. So that email, I almost deleted. You want to know what it said inside, right? So I opened it, and it was this announcement of the winner of this year's Hong Kong International Literary Festival Poetry Contest for young students. And this is the winner of it. 16-year-old. Who would know how to pronounce this name in a more beautiful way? Wong Ik Ching Ivy. Okay, I'm gonna play you this. If the tech allows it. If not, I have another way to play it to you. Should we try?
Sidereal Growth. I do not hold the answers to the universe. Dark matter matters not to me. Instead, what matters is the solid hand in mine, the liquid gold of eyes under sunlight, the warm air of starlight laughter. Matter is never created or destroyed. We all have to start somewhere. We all leave a piece of heart in the earth, a sprouted seed to return to even as your feet leave the ground. The sky unfurls, sea blue, ocean deep above you. The ground opens, glass green hands to catch you. The seasons pass, the tape winding and rewinding. Close your eyes as we speed it up. Your branches bursting into bloom straining like fingers reaching upwards, outwards, into the sky. How many possibilities does this diagram show Sweethearts bear sweet fruit, and birds come home to roost, and words burst on my tongue, sweet like lemon pigs. Every mouthful, 5 languages of love. Does it matter that I cannot see the forest for the trees, even while looking through the mirror? I have cast my hopes like dice, tossing them onto the tails of dying comets. I have planted dreams like seeds, burying them between the roots of myself. Someday, when the time is right, birds will sprout from the soil like stars.
That's it. That's what I needed in that moment when I was so busy moving from one transition to the next, getting that printer started, getting my kids ready, getting myself ready. Breath, reading this, and understanding that no matter what transition we find ourselves in, we are growing, we can trust the process that we are, and just, enjoy the ride. That's the choice I made. Today, I'm committed to do that, and I know it's super hard because tomorrow I'm going to freak out about some big transition in my life that I'm going to make. But I commit to the Creative Mornings community globally all over the world, especially the Hong Kong chapter today, that I'm going to choose to enjoy the ride. I'd like to invite you to do the same. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open the floor to questions.
So we're not.
So you did this talk about the voice, remember? And now you use it to, I think, incredible effect. It's amazing the storytelling you do. It's a solid structure, but it's also incredibly emotional and effective. And yeah, my whole journey as Romania, I guess, Hong Kong, you see, like, I didn't move from a comfortable place to Hong Kong, so I didn't move from amazing place. I moved from Russia to China, and then from China to Hong Kong, but I was always in a very scrappy place, very, very poor background. Because I'm a father of 2 kids, I have a wife, and she didn't do the career, we homeschool kids, so it was all me. And I was also this crazy person doing startups all the time, right? So you're not supposed to do that. Like if you're a father of 2 kids, you shouldn't do startups all the time. But I made it, through all of this. And I learned a lot, and I kind of gave up on a lot of opportunities and money, and took a lot of learning and kind of become who I am, and I appreciate that. Met you, made this community, and definitely kind of I find myself now in a much more balance. The simple example of Liminal for me was visas. So I changed visa in Hong Kong 6 times. First time I changed visa, there was officers screaming at me that I would never get another one.
Oh my goodness. What happened there? I want to hear that story. But maybe, yes.
But I have to wrap up, yeah.
Yes.
Anything else in the transitional space?
But I think you said something really important there, is that there are always a lot of possibilities for us and when we're at this crossroads, and then there are all these expectations, maybe from society, maybe from ourselves, what would be the right thing to do. And oftentimes we choose what we think is the right thing, and even though our heart, sorry I touched the mic again, oh my goodness, even though we would want to go that more daunting road, yeah. Sorry.
Thank you. I think, like many in this room, we've watched you over the years and heard you and seen you on stages, and the question is perhaps not so much about Liminal, but rather, how on earth do you keep that open, enthusiastic, curious energy up? Because, man, you've got a lot on your plate. Yeah, you always show up so open, so excited, even when it's hard, even when it's ugly or messy or sticky. And I'm really curious, how on earth do you do that?
I have wondered that as well, you know? Like, I really wonder, and I think I have to go back to my credit to my great-grandma. I think she was one of the most crucial people in my life that kind of like raised us, because our parents had us so young. Maybe that's why they got divorced, you know. And she was this person who lived this for me, because her life was not easy, and she has lived through the war, and she didn't have much, but I never saw her complain, even though she had hardship. But not in a bad way, like that you don't acknowledge it, like you acknowledge it, but you are still moving through it. And I think I just had that, I just got really lucky having a woman like that in my life that's been so formative for me. So wherever you are now, Omi, yeah, she's amazing. I feel her with me. Yeah.
Anyone else?
After actually listening to your talk, I actually got cheered up. Oh, thank you. You got it. Actually, I just realized that most of my life, I think I've been in the liminal space. Now thinking back, I've always been the black sheep in the family. So, in a nutshell, in an Asian family, it's very uncommon to move out at the age of 17. I moved to Vancouver, a place I've never been. I don't know anybody. Don't have a job, don't have plans, don't have savings, don't have credit card, don't have rich parents. And I just basically moved there. I did that in Taiwan after I graduated from university, and same thing with Hong Kong actually, and that's where all the cool stuff actually happened. Like every time when I'm in that space, I realize it's more positive than negative, although at the beginning it's
feels like
always scary and people always criticize you. And same thing with a YouTube channel, you know, women only meet none cats. You know, there's a lot of scrutiny with that one. And with my main job, I'm an MC, but I've always had a fear of public speaking. So I'm always in that space. And same thing with cats. My number one allergen is cats. So when you said liminal space, I'm like, actually it's a really cool place to be in. I do highly recommend that you guys actually intentionally go into this place if you've never been to, because in hindsight, it's nothing but the most amazing stuff. And going back to that cup that you were talking about, the glass is half empty or full, I never thought of it that way. It actually, every time I go in and out of these spaces, that cup actually got a lot bigger, so it was never really full. Like, I can always absorb more after I come out of these spaces, because my world is just that much bigger. Be it this world or just the world. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Very inspiring.
Thank you. Like, I love that picture of the cup gets bigger. You know, it's like, this is really nice. I like it.
Thank you for sharing your story, Mike.
First of all, Regina, thank you for sharing such a personal story. I think it really resonated with a lot of people. I was the speaker of the last one on design. I love the fact that the two, both of our talks talk about embracing ambiguity. That's love that how it echoed with each other. But I would like your advice, because you have 3 kids.
Yes.
How are you going to transfer your learning to them? Because I think a lot of the time, especially as a designer, we have that sort of inbuilt within us to embrace those kind of ambiguity, to look at the blank canvas. But how do you design for your kids, starting from young? How do you get them to be ready? I think you have 3 kids, so you have a lot of tips for them.
Don't listen to my advice when it comes to kids and parenting. No, I do. I feel I've grown into that role, right? As a parent, you fall into it and you think you're prepared because I read all the books, how I would raise my kids. And then I was in it and I'm like, that doesn't work, what am I doing here? But I guess I have to go back to what I said before about my great-grandmother. I think the best way to design with your kids, invite them in the first place, like also hear their voice, like really hear what they say. Even my youngest, he doesn't say a single word yet, but I hear him. Like I go down and listen, I try to listen what he wants to say. And then at the same time, you just, by being you and your role modeling, they see everything. They hear everything. it kind of like freaks me out how they do. Gosh, the other day we were in a restaurant and I was this is a weird example, but that was that aha moment. We were all eating our burgers and I have this weird habit. I didn't think it was so weird, but I'm dipping my fries in the ketchup of the burger. Is that weird? Does no one else do that? So I'm sitting there dipping my fries, and my oldest daughter, she's sitting on the other side of the table, like she's really, like not even next to me. She's quite far away because we're in this restaurant. And then she's like, "Mommy, why do you do that? Why do you dip it in the burger?" So that's it, right? She's watching me when I'm not even aware, and that's actually quite scary. So you cannot be aware of what you do and say all the time, but be aware of it anyway. Does that make sense?
I just have to say, we're totally embracing ambiguity. We have not read any books or watched any.
Good!
Actually,
Yes.
I did see a YouTube video headlined Ring of Fire, and then after that I was like, shut down, I'm not going to watch anything else. So yeah, that's the process we're going through. Anyone else? One question?
Yeah, you bring me back memories, Diana, but to me, becoming a parent is the ultimate liminal experience, because yeah, for me, in my situation, it was like, I don't know what it's going to be like. And then as soon as the child was born, I couldn't remember what it was like before.
Yeah.
It was like such a dividing line. Great talk, Regina. Great to meet you finally. We've been sort of bouncing around each other for years. There is a book on this called Liminal Thinking by this guy called David Gray, I think it is. It's worth checking it out. I'll forward a link to an article where a friend interviewed the author. And it's got these amazing sketches that sort of demonstrate how fragile reality is. And yeah, really powerful. I haven't even read the book, but that article, I've read it multiple times. Every time I read it, it changes the way I think about a bunch of things. And I was going to say something.
Yeah,
else.
can you please share that with us? Can
Yes.
we all read that
I'll
article? Share it,
Diana,
Simon.
and
Yes.
you can share it somehow, community-wide. I mean, for me, going back to Australia, so I'm heading back tomorrow, so I feel really like in this liminal sort of state, not forever, just for, you don't go back for a week anymore, you go back for a month and a half, and then quarantine and all that. So yeah, I feel like I'm going off a cliff. It's really strange, going back, 3 of our children in Australia, so I haven't seen them for 2 years. One of our children is still here with my wife, so it feels weird to separate from them, go back. My dad's turning 90, so it's big priority to go back and celebrate and all that. Anyway, great to stay connected to the community here. Thanks for everything, Diana, and I'm really looking forward to Mark taking over and continuing the tradition. And great to see everyone. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we'll wrap up. So what's next for you, Regina? This is your liminal space. What's the next destination?
Oh, if I would know that, Diana. There are a lot of question marks, How are you gonna... Yeah, I think we all find ourselves in this place right now. How to... Something happened to the mic. How to move on and move through it all. But I just, today, I'm just gonna make that choice, as I said, and keep reminding myself that all this is part of it, and that I'm allowed every single one of these messy thoughts. And the beautiful thing is, it's under the Creative Mornings logo. There's actually so much creativity in it, what I love. Like if we can embrace that, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna embrace my creative mess and chaos and go for it.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming. I encourage you to embrace your creative mess and chaos this Friday. And I'm not sure if we're going to have a December event, TBC. I'll talk to Mark about it. But if not, have a wonderful kind of holiday season, and we hope to see you at the next one. So the doors will stay open until, the doors will stay open all day because it's a studio. But you can stay until 10 a.m. and then enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys.
Thank you.